Hey everyone, welcome again to another 360 Timmy. In this episode, I have a vision.
Introducing Apple Vision Pro. The era of spatial computing is here.
We're talking about the world of spatial computing with the final release of Apple's Vision Pro headset going on sale this week, and how my working in 360 video format came about.
Named Tim, who I'm standing with now, got in contact with me after seeing lots of this coverage. I was able to go.
As usual, I have some great content on YouTube where you can view all things 360 and immerse yourself in all kinds of places. So it's all in the name with 360 Timmy. My main interviews are captured in 360 video, and the idea for using this format came about after using a MetaQuest 2 VR headset. The idea is that if I captured interviews in interesting places, outdoors, with interesting people, you could replay the interview using the YouTube 360 app, using something like a MetaQuest headset, and almost be there in the interview, walking along, looking around and listening to the interview. The technology also allows you to change the camera angle if you're viewing on something like a Mac, a PC, phone or tablet by simply touching the screen. It was my second interview with my friend Josh Tate in Devon, with his suggestion that we walked amongst the crowds, that the concept of 360 video really came alive. You could see the hustle and bustle of busy Exeter with a one-to-one interview taking place, almost like a Parkinson on the road. Big shout out, by the way, to Josh for this fantastic Rubik's Cube shirt. Isn't it fantastic? Of course, VR headsets have been around for an absolute age. Does anyone remember watching Lawnmower Man back in the 90s?
And reality.
We have no idea what he's gonna do.
Is all in your mind. The Lawnmower Man.
Now, Meta's headset has many 360 versions of some familiar apps, Instagram, Facebook, and a whole concept of virtual worlds that you can both explore and build. Dominic King explains how he's embraced this technology and how he sees the arts and entertainment might change to use it in the future.
And I'm going to tell you something I haven't said to anyone.
We need a kissing gate again as well.
We are near the kissing gate. We are near the kissing gate.
I'm nervous.
Well, let's consider this kissing gate like going into the future together, right? So you go first.
Okay, I feel you should go into the future first.
All right, I'll go.
We'll get the camera going with you.
So this is where we are,
Yeah.
which is great. But this is the future. Oh, guess what? It feels the same.
Yes.
Because that's the point. It feels the same. And I think that, you know, when technology happens, it's a state of mind that you yourself feel how you feel, which is why we're nostalgic for things that have happened in the past. But I think VR, which I'm really excited about being part of, and I said to you something I haven't sort of talked about, as we speak, I'm having a studio built by some friends in VR so that I can have a conversation as my Dominic King avatar with the avatars of other people in that virtual world, and use the studio in the same way I'd use the studio in the real world, which is to sit behind a desk, to have a microphone. You may ask yourself, well, why? Why not?
I think that's really cool. Because you can transpose yourself into different worlds instantly, can't you? Different interests. I mean, I think you mentioned there's comedy happening in the virtual world now.
There's a guy, Kyle, who he's known as Failed to Render, which I think is one of the best names ever in the VR world. Failed to Render is his name. You check him out. And he, during the pandemic, basically as a comedian, realized that all his gigs had gone down the pan. He wasn't able to bring people together. So he turned them into a virtual reality nightclub and comedy night, and he's still doing it today. Every week he has comedy nights 2 or 3 times a week, and people go in from the virtual headset and they sit in his club. I have physically gone into the club in San Francisco that he runs via my home here on the Romney Marsh, and been in the space where he does his comedy nights, and it has become a really big thing. And it just strikes me that we're always wondering where the next big thing is. The next big thing, as you know, in the world you work in, Tim, often can take a decade to actually become the next big thing.
Yeah.
So VR, you'll read loads of stuff about it where they're saying, oh, it's not really going anywhere. This is not really happening. Zuckerberg's not doing this or that. You know, Apple coming in with their Vision Pro, all these things. But the reality is, I've only been in it 3 months, and I've learnt so much in 3 months because that brain of mine that loves to learn new things has already taught myself how to be part of another world. And when I sat there with some young guys who basically said, what do you want to build? And I started being the architect with them of my new studio in the VR world. And I'm physically watching them create blocks that become desks, that become studios. Or I said to them the words, I want the other studio to look like Abbey Road. And they suddenly put in a carpet, that kind of music studio red carpet that you know that all the bands would be standing on to deaden the sound. And it's just amazing. So the future is whatever we want it to be. And I'm a great believer that we should try as much as possible to embrace change, embrace potential, because there was a time when people would have said most of the stuff we now take as a commonplace thing every day would not be possible, and none of us would be excited about it. Yet we are, we do things, not always great, but giving it a try is good, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I think our next interview may well be in VR space.
Yeah.
I think you just need to work on having some legs though, because that is one thing I noticed with avatars in Meta Worlds. You don't have any legs at the moment, do you? So that's
no, they don't seem to want to give anyone any legs. But I think there's something kind of quirky about that. That's,
pretty groovy. Now, it was Dom that convinced me to get my first MetaQuest headset, and I kind of fell in love with the VR world. And yes, I've also upgraded to the vastly improved MetaQuest 3.
I'm all about the hype. I'm all about the hype. I'm all about the hype.
I'm all about the hype.
But I have to admit, still wearing it for a long time can give you a bit of motion sickness. And this is the issue. The technology has certainly moved on from the days of the Lawnmower Man films tethered to a PC, but it hasn't quite perfected the optical experience. Then comes along a Vision Pro from Apple.
When you put on Apple Vision Pro, you see your world and everything in it. Your favorite apps live right in front of you, but now they're in your space. This is Vision OS, Apple's first ever spatial operating system. It's familiar, yet groundbreaking. You navigate with your eyes. Simply tap to select, flick to scroll, and use your voice to dictate. It's like magic. Apps have dimension, react to light, and cast shadows. Even though these spatial experiences are happening inside Vision Pro, it looks, sounds, and feels like they are physically there.
Love it or hate it, Apple has been at the forefront of introducing new products to the world that ignite a market. The Mac way back in the 80s with a mouse.
You've just seen some pictures of Macintosh. Now I'd like to show you Macintosh in person.
The iPod transforming the way we buy music and inventing the concept of a podcast. The iPhone bringing smartphones to the world.
We are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. And here it is.
And the iPad transforming the way people interact with the internet, no longer having to use the computer in your spare room. So I was excited to hear that Vision Pro was coming, introducing a whole new segment, spatial computing. The product looks amazing. It looks like, as ever, Apple has focused on the design and the issues around VR, looking at optical processing, eye tracking, and even finding a way to have your eyes showing whilst you're wearing the device. Pretty cool. But it's $3,000. It's so limited on release, you're unlikely to be able to pre-order and get hold of one for some time. And it's also very disappointing to hear it won't feature the YouTube 360 app. What the hell, Apple? Is this going to be your 21st century Newton?
What is Newton? Newton is digital. Newton is personal. Newton is magic. Newton is as powerful as a computer. Newton is as simple as a piece of paper. Newton is intelligent. Newton learns about you, understands you. Newton is news. Newton can receive facts, and electronic mail. And if there's anything this world can use, it is more communication.
Who remembers that? It's not like there isn't a great collection of 360 content. I mean, I make loads. And you can be on a beach in the tropics. You could be in a cockpit flying a plane.
Thrust checked. Ready? Check. V1 rotate. V2. Positive brake, you're up.
You could be walking along a street on holiday and taking all the ambience. So my hopes for the spatial computing world and 360 videos are rather dashed. $3,000 is a lot of money for a product at this level. Arguably, they started to raise the price of iPhones to $1,000, and not long after Android followed suit. You can argue, of course, a phone is something that you use every day. It's your communication, it's your wallet, it's your music device, it's your camera, it's your key. I'm not sure you're going to find a reason to spend $3,000 on a one-use headset, so I don't think this is going to be the spark the 360 VR world is waiting for, which is a real shame, as I was hoping this would be a game changer. Perhaps in time the cost will come down and Apple will catch up and introduce the YouTube 360 app, and also maybe competitors will start making their own versions. But I guess until then, it's a waiting game. The vision is lost. That's all we've got time for. As ever, I really do appreciate your support. Please reach out to me at 360timmy.com with any content suggestions or future guest appearances. Also, please feel free to leave comments, likes and dislikes on the videos, hopefully the likes, and please like and subscribe the channel. As ever, you have a super day.